She was right here. Okay, I didn't know. She stepped out for a minute.
No, that's Harold. He's the DJ, your designated DJ.
Go ahead and call the Ways and Means Committee meeting to order. Today is August 21st, 2023, approximately 5:24 p.m. We do not have any budget adjustments for this evening, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, Ways and Means is adjourned.
Thank you, Councilman Brown. Moving on to ordinance and resolutions. We have 10 ordinance, number 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5 will be completed on tonight. Number 6 is up for the first reading. Number 7, 8, 9, and 10 will all be completed on tonight. Number 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21 are all resolutions. They will be completed on tonight. Everyone should have 2 resolutions in front of them.
Correction, if you look, please go back. two resolution numbers 15 and 16, those are one and the same. Sometime or another, but a complete one out of the package. So number 16 should be voided. It's the same as 15. The difference is that
That's correct.
number 16 has the amount in it, 15, I'm sorry. 15 has the amount and 16 doesn't. So we'll void 16, they're one and the same.
Yes, ma'am. That's correct. Thank you, Mayor. So you board 16. Thank you for watching. And so everyone should have two resolutions in front of them. We have the resolution authorizing an agreement with University of Arkansas Little Rock for the performance of a group violence initiative evaluation program. This is added to the agenda. This would be agenda item number 22.
I think I'll read the number just to look at each child. 15. Divided out to 60. This will be 17. 18 will come down 17. 19 will come down
So this one be 21.
GBI will be 21. When you pay it first.
Push those numbers back one.
Sorry.
So we just push them back one number.
Yes, to take out the one that was, that we bought.
Okay. Okay, just for the record, a resolution authorizing agreement with University of Arkansas Little Rock for the performance of a group violence initiative evaluation program. That would be 21. Then, the second one that is in front of you, a resolution authorizing the placement of a commemorative topper on Oak Street at its intersection with Second Avenue to honor Dr. Joseph C. Corbin for his contribution to the city of Mount Bluff. Agenda item number 22. If there's no further discussion, any questions? That concludes ordinance and resolutions. Motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
So moved. Thank you.
It is now 5:29, time for us to start our meeting. We usually open our meetings up with our public speakers on the agenda items. We're going to open up today with our announcements, studio announcements, because we have some special guests in the house with us that I would like to recognize. They may not be able to stay for the entire time of this meeting, so we're going to recognize them and then do our announcements and move into our public comments. Many of you already know that we are implementing a group violence intervention program, better known as the GVI program. And we'll be having a town hall meeting in reference to this program to focus on it on Tuesday, that's tomorrow, August 22nd, 2023, at 6 p.m. here in the Convention Center. GVI is an evidence-based approach that elevates the role community support and social services play in reducing gun violence. Leonida Hughes, and I'd like for her to stand, Ms. Hughes, are you here? Leonida Hughes is the GBI director here in the city of Pine Bluff. She works in partnership with Judge Ernest Brown in District Court, Juvenile District Court. Was Judge Brown here tonight? Okay, Judge Brown. The mission, thank you, Bob. The mission of Pine Bluff GBI is to identify, engage, and to work to keep individuals in the city of Pine Bluff who are at the highest risk of being victims of perpetrators of gun violence, to keep them safe, to keep them alive and out of prison. GBI conducts collaborations among community leaders, social service providers, and law enforcement. The program involves law enforcement partnering with the community to focus on the small and active number of people driving violence plaguing many neighborhoods. With community input, law enforcement identifies those at the highest risk of violence and partners to intervene and provide support. In the month of May, a team traveled to Pennsylvania, and we visited several cities there, including Philadelphia, York, Media, and there was one other city. What was the other one there? Chester, Pennsylvania. And from that trip, we developed relationships with people who are from other communities who have experienced success with this program. We're going to be led with this initiative by John Jay College. That's the National Network for Safe Communities. And we have some of that team here with us tonight. Professor David Kennedy is here with us tonight. He was the creator of this GBI initiative. Will you please stand? Thank you for being here, Professor Kennedy. And we have one of his field advisors, Kevin Johnson. Kevin, will you stand? Thank you. Fatima Zara is here with that program. She is from Pine Bluff, and we're proud to say, where you live now, Fatima?
In Brooklyn.
She lives in Brooklyn, New York now, but she's from Pine Bluff, and her mom still lives here in Pine Bluff, and she teaches at UAPB. So let's give a round of applause for those visitors with us tonight from John Jay College. From the team that we visited in York, Pennsylvania, we have the Police Commissioner Michael Muldrow with us tonight from York, Pennsylvania. We have Lieutenant Matt Irwin tonight. And York's GBI coordinator, their GBI director, I should say, is Tiff Love. And the assistant director with her, Kiana Henderson. From the Philadelphia team, we have the director, the GBI director, Dion Sumter. And what we also like so well about this program is that it partners to bring in parents, giving parents support and giving advice from parents who have experienced gun violence. We have a parent from the Philadelphia team who is very active with that group. She's a mom who lost her son to gun violence. Her name is Kimberly Burrell. We want to thank you all for being here. They will be at the town hall meeting that takes place on tomorrow night. We're going to ask you all to please spread the word so that the whole community becomes more knowledgeable and get their weigh in their input on the movement of this initiative, NRC. The city of Pine Bluff will be closed on September 1 for our Labor Day holiday, and will be closed September 4th, 2023. Tour de Bluff, the annual bicycle event produced by Novelties, will be held September 8th and September 9th. We will start on Friday evening, September 8th. Then registration can be completed on-site on Saturday morning, September the 9th. You can go and register also online at www.tourdebluff.com. In-person and virtual activities are scheduled during this annual event. This event has been growing a bit larger with each year. So if you've never been, we invite you to come for a first time. We'll have the mayor's mile if you don't want to do the 6, 10, 25, or 64-mile ride. There's the mayor's ride for those of you who don't want to meet that big challenge that will start at 10 o'clock. Here at City Hall, we'll meet at the steps this year. And it starts at 10 o'clock on that Saturday morning, September 9th. Before we move further, I've just been told that our speaker or our invocation, our pastor who's doing our invocation tonight has an emergency. He has class. He has class and he must leave. So we're going to let him go on with the invocation and then we'll go into our public speakers. Reverend Robert Key, pastor of Mulberry Grove Missionary Baptist Church, Allentown, Arkansas. Will you stand for the invocation?
Shall we pray? Gracious God, our Father, as again we come, God, with our heads on our heart. First of all, God, we want to tell you thank you. Thank you for who you are in our lives. Thank you for the things that you do. Thank you, oh God, for all that we have experienced thus far. We pray in the name of Jesus, oh God, that you will be here in our presence, oh God, helping us, oh God, to come together in that unity that you expect for us to be. Thank you in the name of Jesus. Now we ask, God, that you would touch our hearts, oh God, that the love that you share abroad would be shared in our hearts, oh God, one to another. Then touch our minds, oh God, that we might be able to receive the wisdom that you have for us, oh God. And oh God, and then touch our eyes that we might be able to see what you have for us in the precious name of Jesus. Bless each member here, oh God. Bless each individual, oh God. Help us, oh God, to come together with one accord, oh God. You told us that when we come together, if we come together in unity, you promised us that you would be a God in the midst. Now I pray in the name of Jesus, oh God, that we will all be with one accord. And God, when this time has come that we must leave, oh God, we'll never leave your presence. We'll always be there. In the precious name of your Son, Jesus, we thank you for being with us. Amen.
Thank you so much. You may be seated. Okay, we can finish. Not calling to order. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now, moving into our first business will be our public speakers. And our first public speaker will be Mr. Michael Banks. Mr. Michael Banks is speaking to agenda item number 8.
Yes, ma'am. How y'all doing today?
Okay.
I am Michael Banks, a citizen of Time Bluff, been here 7 years.
Mr. Banks,
Yes, ma'am.
let me say this. We have a number of speakers. I think we have approximately 14, 15 speakers.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's going to be critical that everybody adheres to our policy, our time
Yes, ma'am.
policy. With 2 minutes.
Okay,
2 minutes per speaker.
okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Banks.
First of all, y'all forgive me for my nervous. It's the first time I've ever been in front of question people. But anyway, I'm here for the Go Forward Pine Bluff. Go Forward Pine Bluff needs to be on the ballot for several reasons. The stores, the roads are bad, this right here will benefit a lot of things right here. Often sitting there, I think about the firemen, how they're even new fire trucks and things like this right here. Fire truck costs like $700,000, maybe to $1 million. I was thinking, what if a fire truck, what if you have somebody in your family that's their first responders and the fire truck quit on your way to one of your loved ones or break down? So I'm thinking about that. But first of all, people often complain about what Pine Bluff don't have. They always talk about Whitehall, but Whitehall is on one accord. They vote for what they need out there. This Pine Bluff we don't stick together here. We don't. In order for us to get what we need over here, we all will have to get together and vote for this bill, for this go forward Pine Bluff. We need this. With that, I pass.
Thank you, Mr. Van. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is Beth Harris.
Good evening. Thank you for giving me the chance to say something. I've lived in Pine Bluff almost all my life. We moved here in 1960, my family. And so I was raised here. I attended school here, and I graduated from Pine Bluff High School. I'm a product of Pine Bluff, and I'm proud that I am. And I'm a product of the Pine Bluff School District. This was a wonderful place to grow up. I was elated when the voters, the citizens voted to build us a new high school. There hasn't been one since I was in high school. So y'all, you can start calculating how old I am. So it was time for a new school for our students. I taught in Pine Bluff. I was assistant principal in Pine Bluff. I was a principal in Pine Bluff. And I was very surprised to see that there were so many uncertified teachers in Pine Bluff. But I'm happy to learn that Go Forward Pine Bluff is addressing that situation, because we have 38 new certified teachers, 5 with master's degree. We really need to try to continue to work together to improve Pine Bluff, and I hope we will. I have 39 years in education. I'm retired. And I know how important education is, and that it's been trying to be addressed. So I am supporting Go Forward Pine Bluff and the 5/8 cent sales tax. Thank you for your time.
Where do you live? Where do you live?
On Plum Street, off Ridgeway Road, with my husband Don, who's also going to be speaking.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Thomas Gakers.
Good evening. Until I heard the mayor say he only had two minutes to speak, and that means 28 minutes of these notes that I have here, I can't use. No, but seriously, I'm coming to you before you right now to express my sincere support of Go Forward Pine Bluff. Now, I am a resident. I have been a resident of Pine Bluff for over 24 years. I actually attended school here at UAPB back in 1972. But a 1 cent sales tax is not going to hurt anybody. Now, those persons who are most able to actually buy those things, those persons who have that money to buy those things are going to be the one paying the taxes. Those individuals who do not have the money will not be paying that. Now, we have been complaining about the deterioration of the city. And we have people who are not supporting this, but at the same time, this plan has been presented as being a plan where we can go forward, we can be progressive. If you're not progressive, you're going to be regressive. And if you do not support this Go Forward Pine Bluff, if you do not have a plan that you are proposing that's going to do the same thing, then my problem is going to be with you and not with Go Forward Pine Bluff. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Our next speaker will be Elizabeth Hill. Agenda item 8.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm here on behalf of the Go Forward tax. I've been in the city 30 years. You haven't seen me, but you will be seeing me from now on. But this tax, we've been hearing a lot of things about the tax. But this tax, and I'm going to explain to you what this city is doing since some of you all don't seem to know. This is a tax we have been paying for 7 years, and it's up for renewal. It's not a Go Forward tax for Go Forward themselves. This is a city tax designated for the projects to bring Pine Bluff forward. It's our support through these taxes that is bringing Pine Bluff back. Go Forward Pine Bluff is implementing the projects and bringing support to this city through private funds and grants. We need both working together. When we vote no, it's against us, our citizens, our children, our town in its entirety. And it's nothing new, it's just a renewal. Now they're coming out with 3/8 sales tax. That's for the fire and police department. And this is a tax that goes stay. But that's an opinion really, it's 3/8. And it's gonna stay with us from now on, but this goes to a good cause because we need law enforcement in the city. The city tax is designated to come up every 7 years. So if we keep bringing opportunities to our town, in 7 years, the city can change its course. The revenue coming in will support the city if we get, depending on what we bring in here, because we need hotels, housing, jobs, streets. It's a lot of things we need here in Pine Bluff. So ask yourself, who's going to invest in a city that don't believe in themselves? And who's going to invest in a city where people have failed themselves? Because if you vote against this tax, you have failed yourself and your families and the citizens of this city. Go Forward, which is a 501c nonprofit organization, is funded by grant money and private donors. It is not funded by the city. All information is open to the public, and they have to provide annual reports on how they're going to spend their money. And they got this information, it's public information. So if it's misappropriated, they will lose funding. So they have a check and balance system in force.
Your time is up.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Irene Holcomb. Speaking for agenda items number 8.
Good evening. To the mayor, the council, and this august body. I'm reminded when I was on the council, over 30-some years ago, I was elected in 1988, and I was able to walk up to the podium very briskly, but now I'm not ambulating well, but I'm still here. I'm hopping, but I'm not stopping. As I was thinking about some of the rhetoric that's been going on in town, I thought about Rodney King when he said, "Can we all just give up?" And Rodney King made a profound statement, but our forefathers 200 years ago knew that wouldn't happen. So that's why they drafted the Constitution. So the first 10 amendments give us certain rights. And the First Amendment gives us the right to freedom of speech, the freedom of press, the right to peacefully assemble, and the right to petition the government. Those that are for have a right to speak, and those that are against have a right to speak. In my tenure, my 6-term tenure, I had opposition 4 times. I had everything thrown at me but the kitchen sink. But I guess I hadn't heard Michelle Obama say what she said, when they go low, I go high. I did that. When my opponents tore up my signs, I just brought some more. When they talked about me, I said, well, my most worthy opponent. So I'm asking you to consider supporting the tax, and regardless of what side that you're on, we're all going to have to live here together. And that's a decision that we will have to make, and I want everybody to live together and be in peace and harmony when it's over. Now, contrary to what people think, signs don't, it's over. Well, anyway, I am for the tax. I'm not saying I'm for it go forward, I'm for the progress of Pine Bluff, Arkansas.
Thank you, Ms. Holmes. Our next speaker is Jody Alexander Robinson.
Good evening. I'm former Councilmember Joni Alexander Robinson. Yes, I was a staunch supporter of Go Forward, but when they failed to meet their promises, I could no longer support them. And as a free citizen in the United States of America, I have the right to change my mind. Nevertheless, whether a supporter or not, I would never support a non-governmental employee moving money without council approval or mailing checks without proper documentation. Information I was just made privy to after the first ballot initiative failed. Information I'm sure other council members who I've served with and also new council members were also not aware of. This is about whether a third party should have the authority to circumvent the governmental process of checks and balances and separation of powers, alleged misappropriation of tax dollars, and handle city funds with no oversight, accountability, or transparency. I urge you all to vote no, and in the words of the great Maya Angelou, when you know better, you do better. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Our next speaker is Travis Mosley.
Council, Mayor. My name is Travis Mosler. My wife and I are raising two amazing kids here. My parents pastor a great church here. Pine Bluff is our home. We're building a new community center with classrooms, event space, youth space, commercial kitchen, employing a full-time on-site therapist. We started Home Again Pine Bluff to help families transition from poverty to self-sufficiency through homeownership and mentoring programs. We're building a community park with a playground, basketball court, splash pad. I started an advertising agency business here, and I'm building a new co-working space. We're doing these things because we believe in seeing the revival of Pine Bluff. The progress and development that Go Forward has been able to achieve since 2017 has helped us convince banks, organizations, and friends to also invest here. It's cleared the way for more outside partnerships and collaborations. They see what Go Forward has been producing, and that momentum of progress produces even more progress. People outside Pine Bluff don't care about our city politics. They care about the progress that they can see. I know Go Forward is flawed, unconventional, unprecedented, but it works. Now, everyone in this room is aware of community leaders and politicians who are adamantly opposed to Go Forward. Many of them have been since the beginning. To them, I would ask with all due respect, Go Forward, put their plan together in 1 year. You have had 7 to propose an alternative plan. What have you been doing? To want Go Forward to just go away and nothing to replace it is unwise, and it would without a doubt be to the detriment of the city. We're fighting against an aggressive decline and a loss of population. Agree or disagree with their methods, their staff, their processes, or their initiatives, we can't afford to not have a well-funded and well-planned program like this actively on the books. We need it until we don't. It took a long time for Pine Bluff to fall into this condition, and it will take a long time to get out of it. So we don't have time to waste. If we can't come together for that journey, then don't expect to ever see that destination. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Judy Bridgeforth.
Good evening. I'm Julie Bridgeforth, a lifelong resident of Pine Bluff, graduate of Pine Bluff High School in 1968. Go Zebras! While I know many of you, I want to tell you a little bit about myself and my late husband, Bill. We have loved living in Pine Bluff and have both worked tirelessly our whole lives to make it a better place. In fact, during the last 48 hours of Bill's life, he was working with Mayor Washington by Zoom to finalize the agreement with Courtyard by Marriott so that Pine Bluff could have a nice downtown hotel. One of our last conversations was about whether the go-forward tax had passed. The election was the day before his death. I considered telling a story, but I did tell him the truth that sadly it had not, but he had hopes that it would eventually pass because we have both so believed in this entity. And I worked for the year, I was one of the people that worked on economic development. Bill was very involved in Go Forward. We know this is a good plan. Two of our sons enjoy working in downtown Pine Bluff and have been so glad to see the progress with the beautiful streetscape and landscaping, and are happy that their clients no longer have to dodge piles of bricks to get to their offices. Is Go Forward perfect? No. Have they had some issues along the way? Yes. But this was a well thought out plan that has been said earlier, took 1 year with many, many citizens working and having input. And they have done many, many accomplishments. Their list is long. The Aquatic Center, the Pine Bluff Community Center, the Pine Bluff Convention Center improvements, the generator, blight removal, incentives for teachers, incentives for first responders, festivals, King Cotton Tournament. And there will be many more to come if we can continue this task to invest in our future. I think at the end of the day, we all want what's best for Pine Bluff. Okay, sorry.
I'm sorry. Our next speaker is John Finley. Mr. Finley, you can come up. I'm going to ask you to leave your sign down.
Man, we got that before. He can have his sign. His picture's over here, so he can have his sign.
Yeah, there's all this propaganda over there.
Already discussed.
So I am going to ask you not to yell out. Please, sir. Okay. Mr. Finley, 2 minutes.
Now, I'm speaking on a different agenda item. I am speaking against Floretta Scott being appointed to the Planning Commission Board.
That is an item.
That's on the agenda, and that's what I said I was speaking against.
Okay.
You gonna interrupt me again?
Okay, did you tell the person?
On the phone, yes.
That's what item 19?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Floretta Scott, according to the Go Forward Pine Bluff website, is a member of the board or a member of the board of directors of Go Forward Pine Bluff. And I'd like to address the fact that there's no plans in place, nobody's doing anything except Go Forward. Well, I'd like to tell a little story. I think it's absolutely unconscionable and flies in the face of all propriety that Floretta Scott sits on the board of directors of Go Forward and on the Planning Commission. I attempted to bring a go-kart track to town. Floretta Scott sits on the board of an organization trying to use tax money to do a go-kart track. She, and she's laughing over there, great, yeah, did not recuse herself and sat on the board and voted against having a go-kart track here in town. Now, this is the problem. Go Forward is an insidious organization that sinks its tendrils into everything that's going on here. Floretta Scott shows that. Nobody can bring anything good to this town as long as Go Forward maintains that type of control.
Thank you, Mr. Finley. Our next speaker is Don Harris.
Thank you, Mrs. Mayor.
I'm going to ask the audience to please refrain from talking.
I am here to speak for Go Forward Pine Bluff. I've lived here all of my life. My father was a State Farm insurance agent here in this town for 53 years. I worked with him for over 30 of those. We believe that if we're going to continue to be a community that people want to come to and live in, that we must invest in the community. We look at all of the things that go forward, set on their agenda in the beginning, all of the things that are being accomplished, have been accomplished with just a little bit of taxpayers' money. This 5/8 cents investment that we're making into our community amounts to about 63 cents on every $100 that we spend. It is a gift to this community. If we can get together and continue to go forward with Go Forward Pine Bluff, this tax will provide $32 million more of investment into our community. I don't see how we can say no to it. You can't buy a Snickers bar with 63 cents. And I don't know that anyone has ever gone bankrupt since we passed this tax. So it's something that works for the community. It works for you if you're rich. It works for you if you're middle class. It works for you even if you're poor, because you're going to get to experience the benefits of what's coming to our community. They've done great work so far. We've all seen the signs. I don't need to talk about it. We all know. I grew up going to the Boys Club here in town, which is now the Pine Bluff Community Center. We've done great work with Go Forward Pine Bluff, and I just want us to continue. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is State Representative Vivian Flowers.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, City Council. I'm challenged to be brief in 2 minutes, and I'll just say that since I've sat and heard other speakers, we've heard people talk about sticking together, about education, about how the tax won't hurt, about progress, and about about the state constitution, as well as some of the flaws that may have existed. The first role of government is to protect its people. And anytime we levy a tax, wars have been fought over representation and taxation. Anytime we levy a tax, it is our duty to be transparent, and it is our duty to be accountable. We know everyone in this room is aware of the division and the divisiveness that has occurred over the course of this tax, largely due to the lack of transparency and accountability. We are aware of many of the controversies that still exist today and that are going to exist in the future. And what I'm asking you to consider today is to not vote for it, but to not do it now. Allow for some time for the language to incorporate standards for transparency and accountability. To, for example, levy a public safety tax that's not a forever tax, but that believes in the opportunity for us to grow our tax base and provide very specific resources for our public safety in the language of the measure that would be on the ballot. And finally, afford some time since May to communicate with people who do have concerns, legitimate concerns. I love Pine Bluff, and I believe that the progress can happen from a measure that everyone can agree with and be a part of. So I just would ask that you vote no today and allow for this measure to come up after some time and deliberation and a unified effort for it to be on the ballot in March. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Flowers. Our next speaker is Mr. Ivan Brookfield.
Thank you to the mayor, to the council. I'm Ivan Brookfield. I serve as president of the NAACP. I come today to want to remind all the council members that the people have spoken. The people voted no. I've heard people come up here today and talk about what's going on. I say to you this tonight, nobody told you what they did with $32 million. Yes, they spent $1 million on the Aquatic Center. Yes, they spent $1 million on the community center, but that was tax dollars. Ladies and gentlemen, the people have spoken. Reverend Hogan said at the last meeting, we must come together. I agree with him. Let's come together. Why not put this on the ballot in March? Although former woman Art Alexander revealed some stuff to the community that should shake the conscience of each council member. It should shake the conscience of the mayor and the citizen. We need to do it, but let's come together. Why not put it in March? Why rush it? So people will be hard to go down and vote in November. There should be no rush for this. Put it on the ballot in March. Let the people vote. Police and fire need a real salary. If you're going to maintain and recruit officers and firefighters in our community, they need a real salary base. What you have proposed here today is not. Let me prove it to you. You get to call a meeting and 20 police officers and firemen showed up to support this initiative. I've yet to been to a meeting that they came. I heard someone talk about what Rodney King said. I end my little speech by telling you what Dr. King said. Dr. King said, all we want from America is to give up what's on paper. Pine Bluff want from its elected officials what y'all promised to us on paper. You promised us a vote, we voted no. Now you won't accept it. I just say to you, put it on the ballot in March. Respect the vote of the people. The only reason why we was at the meeting the other night, if this cause go forward, was told, if you put that on the ballot, you got to spend tax dollars the way you said it. And they had to put it. And tonight you all are reading it again. My prayer is that you read it once tonight, once 2 weeks from now, and once 2 weeks from there. That's what you promised the people. Thank you. May God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Bishop. Our next speaker is Julius Lever, and he's coming to us to speak to agenda item number 11. He's speaking for agenda item number 11.
Good evening, City Council, Mayor, and residents, and thank all the persons who come from out of town to learn a little bit about how people in Pine Bluff feel. I think basically we live in a great city. UAPB and your union has contributed greatly to the minds, the varied minds, and the strength of every individual that cares enough to speak. I want to say just a minute, I'm going to try to be respectful because I know so many people listen. I'm always concerned about young people. And when I learned that a police officer can lie to a young man and say, I saw you sniffing good yesterday, and I saw you this morning, and I saw you buy something just a few minutes ago. Now, you go ahead and tell me you did it, you might get a suspended sentence. If you don't, you probably going to get 2 years. And the young man said, I did it yesterday, I did it last week, last month. Because they so afraid, so officers can lie. And that's what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about this city as a government lying on me. When they say that you have religious, I say I have religious part on Main and Harding Street, a prominent part of the city. But then I find out something real quick and I'll be quick. And that is like, when you have a violation, you have the name of the violation and you have the number. The violation is this and the number could be 2010 or 3010. When they gave me the violation, I went by the violation. I didn't check the number. But when I checked the number, it's for a water course violation. And I stress that to you all. When water goes from one property to another property to another property, and it's all polluted and ends up in the river. So very quickly, I just need something real quick. The Clean Water Act regulates the waters of the United States and criminalizes dumping waste, debris, and other forms of water pollution. The Clean Water Act covers rivers, lakes, and waterways that are publicly owned, privately owned. And that's the charge that I was given. I'm worshiping God, but they put a trick in the violation.
Mr. Foster.
My name is Lever.
Your time is ended.
I'll accept that, and I just thank all of you for listening. I hope I have the respect for you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is Jack Foster.
Mayor and Council, promise I will be brief. I came to this body a while back,
and I spoke in terms that I felt there was a conspiracy between the city of Pine Bluff and Go Forward Pine Bluff. I don't know if Arkansas has a RICO Act or not, but I think it's time I call the Attorney General and ask. Let me tell you something. I have hands on a document where Urban Renewal paid a $250,000 bill to Go Forward, even before Urban Renewal came about. Something's wrong with that picture. Why did we pay Go Forward's bill? What I'm saying is that I honestly truly believe that Urban Renewal is the city council and the mayor's little personal piggy bank to do whatever they want, when they want, because of the fact that Urban Renewal is a commission and they're an autonomous body. Therefore, they don't have to really account to anybody. And that's the easy way to go about getting that done. Now, you had a town hall meeting a few days ago, and Alderman Brown Jr. got up and spoke about all the things that would happen if the 5 cent sales tax passed. And I asked him after the meeting, I said, well, is it going to be on the ballot like that? He said no. So if it's not going to be on the ballot like that, how the citizens committee can be assured that that's what's going to happen with that money? We have no assurances. Hiring Go Forward to do what they did is like bringing in an auto mechanic to do brain surgery on me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Foster. Our next speaker is Jahad Mohammed.
All right, how you all doing? All right. I want to specifically speak to our freshmen who are here today, good Christian ladies who are in the church. And I want to say this to you all particularly. You're coming into a system that's corrupt. If what our sister, Joni Alexander, laid out in multiple lives is true, it needs to be investigated, and your vote should line up with what's right. If he has used his authority to circumvent your authority, that's an issue. Because you the ones who have been voted into office to do what? To serve the people and to make sure that the checks and balances of government is in place and stays in place. We already know how everybody else is going to vote. It's very clear. You all are here and can be the moral rutters to guide this ship in the right way. Yes, we do need something to clean the city up, but I tell you, I've looked at the major things that you all have put on the table. And I'm saying, man, here's a solution right here. Why are they running all the way over there? If you just take the problem with crime with our youth, right? We brought in 2 separate groups. They gave us 2 separate times. They gave us strategy, solution, said that they would come back and provide aid, and then we want to take money and dump it into somewhere else. It don't make sense. The mayor was there. She said the plan was good, didn't implement the plan. Mr. Whitfield was in the police department at the time, attended the session, said it was a good plan. The city still has not implemented. So I'm saying, if we're serious about solving problems, if we're really, really serious about solving problems, let's start to implement what we already know is the solution. Now, I know that you all have the good doctor here, right? But I don't know whether he's been to the hood, but I deal with those boys out there selling dope, shooting, killing, and all of it. I don't know if he's going to be able to reach them. And I want to say this before I leave. 1 second. GVI going to get drug dealers to represent our youth or to talk to our youth is not a good plan. Do whatever you want.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed. That was the last of our public speakers speaking before the meeting. That was the last of our public speaking. So at this time, we've already had our invocation and our pledge of allegiance. So we're going to call our meeting to order. At this time, we're going to have our roll call.
Councilmember Baines.
Here.
Councilmember Holcomb Jr.
Here.
Councilmember Bryant Jr.
Here.
Councilmember Lockett.
Here.
Councilmember Brown Senior.
Here.
Councilmember Shayner.
Here.
Councilmember Frazier.
Here.
Councilmember Brunson. Here.
Okay, that was our roll call. Looks like we're 100% present today. Next, we'll have our approval of our minutes from the August 7th meeting. Before you.
So moved.
So moved. It has been moved and properly seconded that the minutes of our August 7th meeting be approved as presented. The floor is all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes stand approved as presented. We're going to move into our first committee report, which will be given by Councilmember Brown Senior, substituting for Councilmember Mays, Ways and Means.
Brown Jr.
Brown Jr., I'm sorry.
I'll do it.
Brown Jr.
This will be short tonight. All right, thank you, Mayor. Ways and Means met just before the council meeting. We did not have any budget adjustments for tonight, so that meeting was quickly adjourned, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. Ordinances and resolutions, Councilmember Holcomb, substituting for Councilmember Mays.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance and resolution, we have 10 ordinance, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 will be completed tonight. 6 is up for first reading. 7, 8, 9, and 10 will be completed tonight. 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15.
Could you repeat that? I missed it.
You want me to start over?
No, with the, what's complete?
I'll start over. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are up for the third reading, will be completed tonight. Number 6 is up for the second reading. Number 7, 8, 9, 10 will be completed tonight. Number 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. You should have voted by that. 17, 18, 19, 20, all the resolutions. And everyone should have 2 added agendas, 2 resolutions in front of them. And we need to vote to add these to our agenda. Number could be 21, and I'm going to read that. To add to the agenda, a resolution authorizing agreement with the University of Arkansas Little Rock for the performance of the Group Violence Initiative Evaluation Program.
Move to add to the agenda.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we add the resolution authorizing an agreement with the University of Arkansas Little Rock for performance of Group Violence Initiative Evaluation Program. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Mays.
Aye.
Councilmember Brown, Holcomb Jr.
Aye.
Councilmember Brown Jr.
Aye.
Councilmember Lockett.
Aye.
Councilmember Brown Senior.
Aye.
Councilmember Shayner.
Aye.
Councilmember Frazier. And Councilmember Brunson.
That was the agenda item number 21. Then next we will have a resolution authorizing the placement of Commemorative Topper on Oak Street at its intersection with 2nd Avenue to honor Dr. Joseph C. Corbin for contributions to the city of Pine Bluff. I move we add this resolution to the second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that a resolution authorizing the placement of a commemorative topper on Oak Street at its intersection with 2nd Avenue to honor Dr. J.C. Corbett for contributions to the city of Pine Bluff be added to the agenda. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Mays.
Aye.
Councilmember Holcomb Jr.
Aye.
Councilmember Brown Jr.
Aye.
Councilmember Lockett.
Aye.
Councilmember Brown Senior. Councilmember Shayner.
Aye.
Councilmember Frazier. Councilmember Brunson.
Okay, that will become agenda item number 22. So that will give us 10 ordinance and 12 resolutions.
What number is that last ordinance?
22.
No.
The resolutions are last, so did you move the ordinance into the, ordinance area?
The ordinance did not change. Number 16 is struck from the agenda.
Okay.
You have 10 ordinance, 12 resolutions, giving us a total of 22 agenda items. If there's no further discussion, that concludes ordinance and resolutions.
Thank you, Councilman Pope. Economic and Community Development, Councilmember Brown, Senior.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening to the listeners and the rest of the city council members, as well as the mayor. Community Development did have a meeting on August 14th, where we discussed probably the reason why Alderman Junior said that they didn't have any budget adjustment. We had several, but we met and decided to put them on the first meeting in September. So with that being said, on last meeting, I was beginning to be very emotional because we had lost Ms. Walker, so I spared you all a whole lot of talk. But I'm gonna take 2 or 3 minutes to talk tonight. Tonight I've heard that this tax is here. And I know for a fact that the people voted no. And I did make a statement, no means no. National thing, no means no. I don't care where you go, no means no. So, I also heard that the sales tax won't hurt. What we don't know already, that we're paying almost 13 cents, it will hurt. 13 cents on a dollar, that's less than 87 cents a dollar. Don't tell me it won't hurt. I know that it will. And then the other thing that gets me is, I've been hearing about the police and the fire. Public safety is get the best of our tax dollars. And I think if they need any more tax dollars, it should be done by city council, which is the way the municipal government was set up. And that's just the bottom line. No private group. It behooves me that people don't understand that this is illegal. I've given mostly everybody in this room the legality of this tax. People are stepping on it and not really saying it. They're saying to go for a tax. It's not a go for a tax, it's a CD. Well, okay, then all of the money goes to this private group they call go forward. Then why don't go forward, click on the ballot that says, this is the go for a tax? It doesn't say that. Because that's a sneaky, slick way of getting it over. Everybody that's for this tax is wrong. It's just a bottom line, it's wrong. Then I hear people saying, oh, okay, the banks. What did the banks do? On the list that we were talking about, the bank president was on that list, or the CEO was on that list to control the city council. But they left. Simmons is in Little Rock head office, Reliance Bank is in Whitehall head office, but they want to control what's going on in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Then we want to talk about buildings that fell down. Do anybody know who owned the building that fell down on Main Street? Anybody? Simmons First National Bank owned. Somebody was buying the buildings, the roof got bad, they quit paying the note, Simmons didn't foreclose. Those buildings belong to Simmons, and Simmons sitting right there on Main Street and didn't move. Wow. I have no confidence in Simmons First National Bank. None. All I'm saying to you is that we keep saying, oh, we keep talking about the tax, yes, of course, this is a poor community. I'm a poverty community, go and look it up. Why do you think every time something comes up, we gotta do another tax, we gotta do another tax, we gotta do another tax? The people in the Pine Bluff school just voted in a tax last week before last, for a new school. Okay, fine. 100,000 people pay another $120 a year for the taxes. If you're worth 200,000, you're paying 240. Okay, but that's fine too. That doesn't affect the poor people because their house probably ain't worth 75 or 80,000. I got you. But you still got to pay taxes on it. It's just the way it is. You can't completely keep taxing people. Representative Clark was trying to tell you that it's a tedious thing all over the world when you start raising taxes. And I cannot believe this city council sits here and think it's okay. The people voted for you individually to take care of that tax money. That's one of our main purposes, to do the budget. And we are allowing another group, a private group that's against the law, to do what we're supposed to do. If the police and fire don't have enough money, that's the really worst one, because it doesn't end. If the police and fire doesn't have enough money, They need to collectively get themselves together, come sit down and say, look, we need a 2 cent sales tax for police and fire only. We can do that, because that's our job. A private group can do that. Do you know what the private group did when they come in here? They anchored themselves so that they could be, every time you get ready to change the color of your tissue paper, you have to call, go forward. It doesn't make sense. We have an incubator downtown. There was big money paid for. They go get a generator. It could have been right in that incubator. They can do that. They want to anchor themselves. They want to get into homes, buying houses. They jump out in the education, talking about they're going to get teachers, master's degrees. I'm waiting on the private money. I haven't seen it yet. I don't know where it's coming from, but to me, to rough it up, I got a few hours in my master's. But let me say this. You get it on your own. You get it through grants. You get it through loans. Now, I'm not going to dwell on that. But when you start giving masters to every teacher, they stop being teachers. And they start being administrators and principals and UAPD and COs. There's nothing wrong with teachers getting their masters. Nothing. I'm a school teacher. My wife's a school teacher, but she's retired. What I'm trying to say is, there's nothing wrong with you getting your master's. There's things that are out there. But then what you do, if that teacher stays there, she becomes a problem because she's making $40,000, now she wants to make $60,000 because she got her master's degree. So you set your school up not only academic, but you're in financial distress. I'm not against getting masters. I'm just saying the private group shouldn't use taxpayers' money or even their own money to get those. Let people do it the rough way what we always have done. We go get grants and loans to get our masters. But the last thing I want to say again, it is on the books. That is against the law. And I get this confused, so I'm going to say it both ways. Article 12, Section 5, or Section 5, Article 12 of the Arkansas Constitution states that you cannot give, City Council cannot give money to a private group. You can contract with a Boys and Girls Club or something of that nature. But it clearly states that in every City Council member sitting here, and half the people in the audience have seen that. I passed it out everywhere I could go. And you know that. I'm against go forward because it's illegal. If you are what you are, then you put on that ballot, it's a go forward tax. It's not a go forward tax, it's a city use tax. What they did to change this thing from last week or 2 weeks ago, it simply reverted back to the way it was the first time. The first time they said they could do what they want to do. Every year, this mayor puts in $4.5 million to $5 million in a budget to give to the go forward, and they don't come back to us for nothing. Totally not fair, not transparent. Almost $700,000, which is almost $750 million, was mishandled from this group. Not only the person that you point the finger at, but the person that was in charge of that person, and the person that was in charge of that person. So we're talking about the CEO and the mayor. $700,000, almost $600,000 plus a little $700,000, and rounded off to $700,000. And y'all still want to believe in this group?
Yeah.
There's somebody else have mentioned tonight about some financial difficulties, some things that's going to show up real good in life. Like you sit here and people come up here and speak for the go forward. You don't care about transparency and accountability? Just a minute. I always tell you that, Mayor, and, you know, we know this. And one of our police officers, I love the young man, he said, Mr. Brown, you come to City Council every week and argue. I don't argue. I make statements that I feel like the people need to hear. Whenever somebody else said that this council speaks, I said, Mayor, tell them that they're out of order. I don't argue. I speak what I feel is real. Nobody pays me to speak. Nobody coerces me to speak. It's what I feel for this city, and that's what I feel like is my duty to do, to tell you. Now, whether you want to understand it or not, I'm going to put it to you the right way. I'm going to lay it on the line to you. And about what the mayor's talking about, okay, say, you need to come back, cut back. Also, the Constitution tells you that you can speak. If you get the floor, you can speak 5, 6, 7, 12 hours, as long as you're not repeating yourself. So when I get this, this is my chance. This is my committee. This is my opportunity to say to these people, as well as the city council, how I feel and what I feel about situations. And I'm going to end it right there tonight, but I ain't close to being through. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman. Our next committee report will come from Public Health and Welfare Chairperson, Councilmember Frazier.
I have no report, Mayor, but I am working with Michelle from Cemetery to see about putting the cemetery on a historic registry. So we're working on that and hopefully we'll come to some conclusion. That's all I have.
Thank you. Public Works, Councilmember Shiner.
Thank you, Mayor. Public Works met on,
Today was, what's that? 14, Monday.
15? Yeah, 15. Sorry about that. I didn't write that down. But anyways, Public Works met on the 15th. During that meeting, Aquatic Center, Larissa reported that the revenues are up for May, June, and July. They did have one incident where CPR was performed and revived the little girl. I want to give it to you and maybe recognize that lifeguard. Also, they have some issues with their air conditioner that we're looking at into repairing. The street department, Mr. Bennett reported they're continuing ditch cleaning, cave-ins, and repairing potholes. They are short on equipment, and I understand everybody's concerns, but I mean, they're doing as best they can right at the moment. Also, we met with McClellan Engineering on doing a street evaluation, and we voted to send that to the full council with a due pass. And before I end my report, I would like to say this right here. For the last 7 years, I've heard from council members and other people that the go-forward tax is illegal. And my response to that is, if something's been illegal for 7 years, why is it still illegal? Why is it still happening? If it's illegal, I would think by 7 years that it would be dismantled. That concludes my report.
Thank you.
Golf advisory presentation.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm sorry. The golf advisory, I invited the golf advisory board to come and speak, and we talked about the golf courses, Harbor Oaks, and we will have another meeting with the golf just the golf advisory board in a couple of weeks.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Shiner. Traffic and Aviation, Councilmember Brunson.
Oh,
I'm sorry, let me back up. That's Planning and Development.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Planning and Development Planning meeting met on August the 18th, and we reviewed and vetted and discussed the ordinances related to the 5/8 sales tax that is proposed to be voted on this evening. And it took me a long time to get around to calling a meeting about this tax, because for the world of me, can't figure out why it never was permitted to my committee, Madam Mayor, that the 5/8 is vetted budgetarily through my committee, and we have meetings where every aspect of the 5/8 is discussed on a monthly basis. So I just called it upon myself to call a meeting so we can discuss it, because one of the problems that I have is that when it comes to this go forward thing, it never is fully vetted through this council. That I know for a fact that this proposal to reissue and put this on the ballot, it's been going on for some time, but it has not been going on through this council. And I just have a problem with private groups using the council to do their bidding. Mayor, I've told you many times, the best way to re-up this 5/8 sales tax is to put citizens around the table and everybody have a good discussion about what they want to be taxed on, how long they want to be taxed, and we could come up with something. But we had a meeting, and the conclusion was that the development planning passed these two ordinances related to the 5 days to the council with a do not pass. That concludes my report.
We did go through the administration.
No, we went to Ways and Means. But it wasn't a very thorough meeting. They made a motion to refer it to the council and put it on the agenda, but there wasn't a discussion amongst all, and man, I mean, we talk about many things, you and I, we call each other and we talk from time to time. But I haven't had a call on these issues with the 5 days or the 3/8 to have a full discussion about why we're doing it, what are the implications. And I just believe that if this city is gonna have a city council, if it's gonna put taxes on the ballot, it should be a full, comprehensive conversation between council members, citizens, that flush out all the particulars about why we would wanna tax ourselves. I don't have a problem with taxing ourselves, but I have a problem with rushing a tax. I know the state, you know, I know the tax consultants tell you that to do a tax in a special election, when there's only one thing on the ballot, you have a greater chance of passing it. And after December 31st of 2023, you won't be able to do special elections to do taxes. They would have to be put on the ballot in a primary or a general election, like they should. This community has a history of doing special elections in odd months to pass taxes, when you could do them in general elections, save money, and have a greater turnout of people to vote on the issues. I don't believe something as serious as a tax, you should be able to sneak up on people and put these things out here when there's nothing else on the ballot.
Traffic and aviation, council.
What do you want? I just want to say, everybody keeps talking about transparency, yet when there's a meeting called, there's some city council and some people that when you say go forward, they're not coming to the meeting. They said they're not coming to the meeting. So I just want to say this, everybody want to talk about transparency, but nobody want to show up when you call a meeting. We had a meeting for all the city council to come and review this tax and put their say on it, and all the city council was not there, and I'm done. Go.
Okay, thanks, Mayor. Traffic and aviation, we did meet on August 18th at 10 a.m. via Zoom and in the council chambers. The only agenda item that we discussed was street toppers that the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff is recommending for Dr. Corbin, and that agenda item has been added as well for both, for both later on as we progress through the meeting. And that's the end of my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Johnson. Administration, Councilmember Hope Jr.
Thank you, Mayor. The administration committee has had 2 meetings since the last council meeting. The first meeting was on August the 8th. We met with Animal Control. They do pass on the Animal Control Officer. They do pass the full council. The second meeting was held on August the 18th. We met with Pine Bluff Transit. They do pass on 2 positions, diesel tech and senior mechanic. We also met with Pine Bluff Police Department, 2 positions, juvenile liaison and community engagement coordinator. We do pass the full council. All of these positions are funded within the department. And that concludes my report.
Mr. Chair, I thought we were doing the media person. I think those 2 positions were eliminated, right? The juvenile liaison and community engagement, and I think the chief, she wanted to, the media person and the chief coordinator.
Correct. Thank you.
We were eliminating those positions, Madam Mayor, the juvenile liaison and the community engagement person. Yeah, I think she's wanting a media specialist to coordinate websites and communications and media related stuff, and a chief administrator for her office.
Correct.
That is one.
Thank you, Councilman.
That was within the budget.
Yes, all these positions that I named are within these department budgets. Appreciate you, Councilman.
No problem.
And that concludes.
Thank you, Councilman. Public Safety, Councilmember Brown Jr.
No report at this time, Mayor, and I will be with the clerk about our next meeting.
Moving right along into our proposed ordinances and resolutions, Councilmember Hope.
Agenda item number 1, an ordinance amending the technology use and privacy policy, section 1-2 of the non-uniform policy, non-uniform employee handbook of the third and final reading.
An ordinance amending the technology use and privacy policy, section 1.2 of the non-uniform employee handbook.
Move for adoption.
It has been properly moved and seconded that an ordinance amending the technology use and privacy policy, section 1.2 of the non-uniform employees handbook be approved. The floor is open for discussion. Questions? Hearing none, all in favor of this ordinance, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ordinance approved.
Agenda item number 2, an ordinance amending section 7-9 of the non-uniform employee handbook regarding authorized leave of absence up for the third and final reading.
An ordinance amending section 7.9 of the non-uniform employee handbook regarding authorized leave of absence.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded that an ordinance amending section 7.9 of the non-uniform employee handbook regarding authorized leave of absence be approved. The floor is open for discussion. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor of this ordinance, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ordinance approved.
Agenda item number 3, an ordinance amending the provision in section 4-2 of the non-uniform employee handbook regarding tardiness up for the third and final reading.
An ordinance amending provision in section 4.2 of the non-uniform employee handbook regarding tardiness.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that an ordinance amending provision in section 4.2 of the non-uniform employee handbook regarding tardiness be approved. The floor is open for discussion. Councilmember Brown Sr.
Thank you, Mayor. As I quoted on several other occasions, especially during the time of committee, Pine Bluff has been a city for a long time. And something has happened for us to be doing this in 2023, something about tardiness. Tardiness should have already been on the book. So something happened somewhere that the city council is not aware of, where somebody want to bring this back up about tardiness, because I just, that's been tardiness. I've been out of school a long time. You tardy if you don't get to class on time. The teacher tardy if she don't show up on time. So tardiness is nothing new. So I just could not understand why are we discussing tardiness in 2023. I didn't get a great answer then. I'm probably not going to get a great answer now, but I just want to say I do believe in tardiness, but I don't understand why in 2023 the world has been revolving forever, and now they're talking about tardiness. I don't get it. Thank you.
Well, things are changing as we move forward. Tardiness was addressed in the uniform handbook, but there was nothing in the non-uniform handbook that addressed tardiness. As you have more incidents of tardiness, department heads are having to address that. So then we saw that it was never written in the non-uniform handbook, so we thought that we needed to include that. So that's the reason it's being included now, so that tardiness, as we move forward, can be properly addressed.
Well, it's a shame that we have been operating for years and didn't have tardiness in our handbook. That's it's horrible.
Well, the good thing is it was not there and we're addressing it. Maybe it should have been corrected a long time ago, but we are correcting it. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none. All in favor of this ordinance, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ordinance approved.
Agenda item number 4, an ordinance providing for the coordination of efforts between the city departments and city clerks office to assist the city clerk's office in its performance of statutory obligations as regards to the examination of receipts and disbursements, reviewing of required reports and documentation required of the third and final reading.
An ordinance providing for the coordination of efforts between city departments and the city clerk's office to assist the clerk's office in its performance of statutory obligations as regards to the examination of receipts and disbursements, the viewing of required reports and documentation requirements.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that an ordinance providing for the coordination of efforts between city departments and the city clerk's office to assist the clerk's office in its performance of statutory obligations as regards to examination of receipts and disbursements, the viewing of required reports and documentation requirements be approved. The floor is open for discussion.
I stated previously when this was brought up that I had some concerns. It says for invoices and receipts and disbursements, but every department, when I worked for the mayor's office, when I worked in transit, every invoice, every receipt, everything that we got went directly to finance and the clerk's office, so they were able to scan it into their system. So I don't understand what is the reason behind wanting to have open access to every department's New World Order system. And it was brought to my attention for legislative audit, but the legislative audit has access to everything. So I don't really comprehend this, so I just wanted to go on the record. I did do it in an email, but I wanted to go on record to say that I have concerns about this.
Any other comments?
I would say, as it relates to this, I'm not aware of any statutory obligations for the clerk to perform these duties. I haven't been able to find a statute that supports that. So I'm not sure what is being referenced. The statute that's being referenced in the ordinance is 1443-506. And since we have a treasurer that performs the function of submitting a full report and a detailed statement of the financial condition of the city, since we have a treasurer that already does that, it would be redundant to have the clerk perform that same function. And it is my understanding that we've not had any problems with our treasurer, and I don't know that we've received anything from the legislative auditors as it relates to any deficiencies by our treasurer.
Any other comments?
Can I ask a question?
Councilmember Brown. Mr. Brown, say.
There have been many things that were subjected to an answer from the attorney, but the attorney didn't say anything until she was asked. I don't understand why the attorney spoke this time. Tell me the difference between some of the time when the attorney should speak and the time she spoke this time, but I definitely didn't understand that.
There have been other times that the attorney has spoken.
We always ask her, somebody asked her, so this time we didn't ask her, and she spoke, so I just don't understand that.
In the ordinance, it says there's a statutory obligation, which is a legal issue, and there is no statutory obligation unless there's something I've missed. That's the difference.
Any other comments? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor of this ordinance, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Mays?
Aye.
Councilmember Holcomb Jr.?
No.
Councilmember Brown Jr.?
No.
Councilmember Lockett?
Aye.
Councilmember Brown Senior?
Aye.
Councilmember Shainer?
No.
Councilmember Frazier?
No.
Councilmember Brunson?
No.
It's so amazing that this council votes the same way on all issues.
5-3. Ordinance.
Just for the record, the legal division wrote the wrote the
Say that again, please.
Just for the record, the city of Pine Bluff, city attorney office wrote the ordinance.
Okay, that's strange. So, Madam,
But isn't it correct that
Madam-
all the ordinances are written by the city attorney? Or gone through the city attorney?
I'll question that because some of these things are written, you can tell they come out of go forward. We could write,
Go forward had nothing to do with this. Councilmember, let's move on to item number 5.
Agenda item number 5, an ordinance amending Article 1 in Chapter 2 of the
Just
Code.
1 minute. We need to order in our audience. Thank you so much. Proceed.
Agenda item number 5, an ordinance amending Article 1 in Chapter 2 of the Code of Ordinance in the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, to add a new section 2-7 respecting the attestation of documents by the city clerk and for related purposes of for the third and final reading.
An ordinance amending Article 1 in Chapter 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, to add a new section 2-7 respecting the attestation of documents by the city clerk and for related purposes.
Move for adoption.
second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that an ordinance amending Article 1 in Chapter 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, to add new section 2-7 respecting the attestation of documents by the city clerk and for related purposes be approved. The floor is open for discussion. Questions?
I guess this is say this is already required that the city attorney attests the information, so, I mean, attest any documents or contracts, so, I guess I don't really have an issue with it as far as, that's what's happening anyway, so, I guess we're just putting it down in document.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor of this ordinance, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ordinance approved.
Agenda item number 7, an ordinance providing for the levy of the 5/8 of 1%, 0.62 point sales and use tax in the city of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, for a period of 7 years commencing October 1st.
I think we missed one. Yeah, number 6.
Number 6, okay, I'm sorry. Agenda item number 6, an ordinance amending section 5-29 of Article 2 of Chapter 5 of the Code of Ordinance of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, respecting regulation of animals and for related purposes up for the second reading.
An ordinance amending section 5-29 of Article 2 of Chapter 5 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, respecting regulation of animals and for related purposes.
Place it on the calendar. Agenda item number 7, an ordinance providing for the levy of a 5/8 of 1% sales and use tax in the city of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, for a period of 7 years commencing October 1st, 2024, and terminating September 30th, 2031, and prescribing other matters pertaining thereto of the first reading.
Whereas the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas has determined that there is a need for a temporary source of revenue to fund general purposes of the city government. And whereas Title 26, Chapter 75, Subchapter 2 of the Arkansas Code of 1987 annotated provides for the levy of a citywide sales and use tax at the rate of 0.125%, 0.25%, 0.5%, 0.75%, or 1.0%, or any combination thereof. And whereas the city is currently levying a 0.625% sales and use tax that is used to fund general purposes of city government, and the existing 0.625 sales and use tax will terminate on September 30th, 2024. And whereas the City Council has proposed the levy of a citywide sales and use tax at the rate of 0.625% under the authority of the authorizing legislation, the net collections of which will be used for the general purposes of city government. And whereas the proposed 0.625% sales and use tax will be levied
beginning October 1, 2024, for a period of 7 years ending September 30th, 2031, and will replace the existing 0.625% sales and use tax when it expires. Now therefore be ordained by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Section 1. Under the authority of the authorizing legislation, there is hereby levied a 0.625% tax on the gross receipts from the sale at retail within the city of all items which are subject to the Arkansas Gross Receipts Tax of 1941 as amended, and the imposition of an excise tax on the storage, use, distribution, or other consumption within the city of tangible personal property subject to the Arkansas compensated tax of 1949 as amended, at a rate of 0.625% of the sales price of the property, or in the case of leases or rentals of the lease or rental price, the sales and use tax shall be levied and collected on the gross receipts, gross proceeds, or sales price in the maximum amount allowed from time to time by Arkansas law, subject to rebates and limitations as from time to time required by Arkansas statute for certain single transactions. Section 2, the sales and use tax shall be levied for a period of 7 years commencing October 1st, 2024 and ending September 30th, 2031. Section 3, the sales and use tax shall be levied and the net collections received after the deduction of the administrative charges of the state of Arkansas and required rebates shall be used by the city to fund general purposes of city government. Section 4, all ordinances or parts thereof in conflict herewith are hereby repealed to the extent of such conflict. Section 5, this ordinance shall not take effect until an election is held on the question of levying the sales and use tax, at which a majority of electors voting on the question shall have approved the levy of the sales and use tax.
Suspend the rules and place this ordinance up for the second reading.
Second reading, since the vote as it is. Do I get a sense of vote now?
So you're gonna speed this through? Really?
Second.
It is removed in property.
Man, y'all wrong for this.
Providing for a levy of 5/8 and 1% sales tax.
Go forward, really got y'all, man.
Excuse me?
Go forward, really got you all, man. Can't do that, still run this thing through that. Let the citizens vote back on this here or whatever.
Would you please?
No, man, you're wrong for this. Y'all wrong for this right here now.
We're taking care of business.
This is not taking care of, this is foolishness. And y'all wrong for this. I'm gonna help vote y'all out of here too, watch. Because you're wrong.
I'll do the same for you.
Go ahead.
Calm down.
You don't have a chance with me, buddy. I do my job. You better put some work in and get me.
You can't even hold your own committee meeting.
Councilman
Don't worry about that. You do it.
Councilman Shea,
I do.
You do it.
let's maintain order. Mays, Councilman Mays, thank you.
The citizens should vote on this again, if anything. Y'all can't vote on this for the citizens.
And this will give them an opportunity to vote.
Y'all wrong.
An ordinance,
Keep going.
an ordinance providing for the levy of 5/8 cents sales tax. City of Pine Bluff for a period of 7 years commencing October 1. Put on the second reading. Roll call, please.
Are we on second? What, I'm lost. I don't know where, because I thought we should have,
We suspended the rules with this ordinance on the second reading. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Mays,
No.
Councilmember Holcomb Jr.,
Aye.
Councilmember Brown Jr.,
Aye.
Councilmember Lockett,
No.
Councilmember Brown Senior,
No.
Councilmember Shainer,
Aye.
Councilmember Frazier,
Aye.
Councilmember Brunson.
No.
We can't hear you, Mayor.
I said that failed, it will not go on a second reading.
Place it on the calendar. Agenda item number 8, an ordinance calling for a special election in the city of Pine Bluff, Arkansas on the question levying a citywide 5/8 of 1% sales tax for a period of 7 years and prescribing other matters pertaining to for the first reading.
I'm hearing noise in the audience, I'm going to ask for your attention, please.
Number 8 refers to number 7 having been passed, so just pull that.
Should it go on the calendar for the second?
Number 8 has to go
first
too,
reading?
right?
I can read it.
Number 8 has to go
First
too.
reading, the same as we did for the first one, I think.
Right.
How y'all rushing this through?
We can't pass it because it references number 7, which was not.
Yes, it's an
But I can
ordinance,
read
it's
it.
an ordinance, still has to have the same number of
You don't have to read it though. It's only, the second one is no good without the first one. It's just a dead issue. It's a new issue.
That was dead to put it on the calendar for a second reading.
Still has to have three.
But it's a new issue. That's what the attorney
City attorney.
I'll read it. Whereas the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas has passed on 2023 ordinance number providing for the levy of a .625 sales and use tax within the city for a period of 7 years commencing October 1st, 2024 and ending September 30th, 2031. And whereas the purpose of this ordinance is to call a special election on the question of the levy of the sales and use tax, now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Section 1, there is hereby called a special election to be held on November 14th, 2023, at which election there shall be submitted to the electors of the city the question of the levy of the sales and use tax. Section 2, the question of levying the sales and use tax shall be placed on the ballot for the election in substantially the following form: 0.625% sales and use tax, adoption of a 0.625% local tax within sales and use tax within the city of Pine Bluff for a period of 7 years commencing on October 1, 2024 and ending on September 30th, 2031. For and against. Section 3, this election shall be held and conducted and the vote canvassed and the results declared under the law and in the manner now provided for municipal elections. Only qualified voters of the city shall have the right to vote at the election. Section 4, the results of the election shall be proclaimed by the mayor, and such proclamation shall be published one time in a newspaper having a general circulation in the city, which proclamation shall advise the results as proclaimed shall be conclusive unless attacked in the courts within 30 days after the date of publication. Section 5, a copy of this ordinance shall be filed with the Jefferson County Clerk at least 70 days prior to the election day and given to the Jefferson County Board of Election Commissioners so that the necessary election officials and supplies may be provided. A certified copy of this ordinance shall also be provided to the Commissioner of Revenues of the State of Arkansas as soon as practical. Section 6, the mayor and city clerk for and on behalf of the city are hereby authorized and directed to do any and all things necessary to call and hold the special election as herein provided, and if the levy of the sales and use tax is approved by the electors, to cause the sales and use tax to be collected and to perform all acts of whatever nature necessary to carry out the authority conferred by this ordinance. Section 7, all ordinances and parts thereof in conflict herewith are hereby repealed to the extent of such conflict. Section 8, the provisions of this ordinance are separable, and if a section of phrase or provision shall be declared invalid, such declaration shall not affect the validity of the remainder of the ordinance.
Place it on the calendar.
No. Joe, can they do that?
Yeah, let go.
Joe, can they do that?
That's what the 11 has. Let go.
Place it on the calendar.
Joe, can they do that? I can't hear you, Joe. You're respectful. Come on, Joe, you're a man of God.
Councilmember Mays. He's telling me to ask the attorney. Yes.
What is your question,
I'm talking to
Mays?
Joe. I'm not talking to Attorney Childers. I want his opinion, if you don't mind.
What's the question?
Can y'all do this? Rush this here ordinance through tonight.
We're not rushing it through, we're putting it on the calendar for the second reading. We're reading it one
The
time.
first one didn't go through, so y'all just rushing it through?
We're ready for the
Let me
first.
tell y'all something, the taxpayers on Zoom watching this and hearing this stuff all the time. Y'all wrong for this.
There's nothing inappropriate happening. It was read the first
Y'all
time.
sell y'all souls.
We put it up to read it the second time, it failed, so we put it on the calendar for the second reading. So that's in order. And then we read the next one time.
Now you got an
We put
excuse
it
for
on
it.
the calendar.
You got
There's
an
no
excuse for this.
That's just a legitimate way of taking care of it.
Go ahead, proceed. Y'all wrong for this.
Councilman
Agenda item number 9, an ordinance providing for the levy of 3/8 of 1% sales and use tax within the city of Pineville, Arkansas, and prescribing other matters pertaining thereto for the first reading.
Whereas the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas has determined that there is a need for an additional source of revenue to be used for police and fire department purposes. And whereas Title 26, Chapter 75, Subchapter 3 of the Arkansas Code of 1987 annotated provides for the levy of a citywide sales and use tax at the rate of 0.125%, 0.25%, 0.5%, 0.75%, or 1%, or any combination thereof. And whereas the City Council has proposed the levy of a citywide sales and use tax at the rate of 0.375% under the authority of the authorizing legislation, the net collections of which will be used for police and fire department purposes. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Section 1, under the authority of the authorizing legislation, there is hereby levied a 0.375% tax on the gross receipts from the sale at retail within the city of all items which are subject to the Arkansas Gross Receipts Act of 1941 as amended, and the imposition of an excise tax on the storage, use, distribution, or other consumption within the city of tangible personal property subject to the Arkansas Compensating Act of 1949 as amended at a rate of 0.375% of the sales price of the property, or in the case of leases or rentals, or of the lease or rental price. The sales and use tax shall be levied and collected on the gross receipts, gross proceeds, or sales price in the maximum amount allowed from time to time by Arkansas law, subject to rebates and limitations as from time to time required by Arkansas statutes for single transactions. Section 2, the sales and use tax shall be levied and the net collections received after deduction of the administrative charges of the state of Arkansas and required rebates shall be used for police and fire department purposes, including particularly without limitation an annual bonus on or before December 25th each year commencing in 2024, and for each uniformed police officer and fire officer in a minimum amount of $2,000, and an annual contribution to the insurance premium of each uniformed police officer and fire officer in the amount of $1,000. Section 3, all ordinances and parts thereof in conflict herewith are hereby repealed to the extent of such conflict. Section 4, this ordinance shall not take effect until an election is held on the question of levying the sales and use tax, in which a majority of electors voting on the question shall have approved the levy of the sales and use tax.
Place it on the calendar.
No. So it speaks about an election. This is not an election. It's a foolish vote. No, they can't do that, man. To them citizens.
Well, okay, it's not tonight.
Proceed.
Agenda item number 10, an ordinance calling for a special election in the city of Pineville, Arkansas, on the question of levying a citywide 3/8 of 1% sales and use tax and prescribing other matters pertaining thereto up for the first reading.
Whereas the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas has passed on 2023 ordinance number providing for the levy of a 0.375% sales and use tax within the city. And whereas the purpose of this ordinance is to call a special election on the question of the levy of the sales and use tax. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Section 1, there is hereby called a special election to be held on November 14, 2023, at which election there shall be submitted to the electors of the city the question of the levy of the sales and use tax. Section 2, the question of levying the sales and use tax shall be placed on the ballot. For the election in substantially the following form: 0.375% sales and use tax, adoption of a 0.375% sales and use tax within the city of Pine Bluff, the net collections of which remaining after deduction of the administrative charges of the state of Arkansas and required rebates will be used for police and fire department purposes, including particularly without limitation an annual bonus on or before December 25th of each year commencing 2024 for each uniformed officer, police officer, and fire officer in a minimum amount of $2,000 and an annual contribution to the insurance premium of each uniformed officer, police officer, and fire officer for a minimum amount of $1,000 or against. Section 3, the election shall be held and conducted and the vote canvassed and the results declared under the law and in the manner provided by municipal elections, and only qualified voters of the city shall have the right to vote at the election. Section 4, the results of the election shall be proclaimed by the mayor, and such proclamation shall be published one time in a newspaper having general circulation in the city, which proclamation shall advise that the results as proclaimed shall be conclusive unless attacked in the courts within 30 days after the date of publication. Section 5, a copy of this ordinance shall be filed with the Jefferson County Clerk at least 70 days prior to the election date and given to the Jefferson County Board of Election Commissioners so that the necessary election officials and supplies may be provided. A certified copy of this ordinance shall be provided and the Commissioner of Revenues of the state of Arkansas as soon as practical. Section 6, the mayor and city clerk and for and on behalf of the city are hereby authorized and directed to do any and all things necessary to call and hold a special election as herein provided, and if the levy of the sales and use tax is approved by the electors, to cause the sales and use tax to be collected and to perform all acts of whatever nature necessary to carry out the authority conferred by this ordinance. Section 7, all ordinances or parts thereof in conflict herewith are hereby repealed to the extent of the conflict. Section 8, the provisions of this ordinance are severable, and if a section, phrase, or provision shall be declared invalid, such declaration shall not affect the validity of the remainder of the ordinance.
Yeah, hold on, sir. Now, explain the electoral for me. No. Explain the electors. Who is that, us or the citizens?
Voters, citizens.
The voters.
Yes.
Now, we up here, no, you all up here voting on this, and it's the citizens. Really?
But we're not voting on anything. We're placing it on the calendar, that's it.
That's not a ballot.
Be good for them. Be good for them.
This is not a ballot, man. You can't fool these people, and they sit up here, these people sit up here and let y'all do this stuff.
Councilor Mays, we're not trying to do it. This is just a normal way that
This is not normal, man. This is an election. We're having an election tonight.
We're not having an election.
It's on the agenda. It's like tonight. We're gonna do it tonight.
Now, we good right now. We good.
I'm not. I just want a fresh fool.
Do you think you need to leave the meeting for tonight?
No.
I do.
I think you need to
Not
calm
you,
down.
Not you, man. I'm talking to him. Tell me what to do, man. You out of order.
You've been out of order.
Councilor Mays, you're just taking care of business in a normal manner. Councilor Holcomb, proceed.
Agenda item number 11, a resolution declaring certain houses, buildings, and or structures as nuisance and order their abatement.
Whereas the city council.
Move for adoption. Second.
It's been moved and properly second that a resolution declaring certain houses, buildings, and or structures as nuisances and ordering their abatement be approved. The floor is open for discussion.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to remove certain properties from the resolution.
Councilmember, it's actually on the next, it's on the next one.
Oh, it's on next?
Yes, sir.
Not it.
I was looking for it, that's why I was trying to get it.
I was trying to figure out which one it was.
Okay, so, no discussion on this one?
I had a call.
Any questions?
I had a call from a citizen, one of these.
Do you know which
They
one?
take care of it. You got it. Right? We got it.
Is it on this one?
No, we took care of it, though. We discussed it. And, he was good with some things about it, so just leave it alone. Thank you, thank you.
Okay, if there's no more discussion, let's vote. All in favor of this resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved.
Agenda item number 12, a resolution providing for placement of cost correcting of certain nuisance on tax book as delinquent taxes and collected as such.
Whereas.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that a resolution providing for placement of costs of correcting certain nuisances on tax books and delinquent taxes and be collected as such be approved. The floor is open for discussion.
That's what I was going to
Councilman Brown.
Yeah, everybody,
Are you good?
yes. Everyone have a copy of the memo that's removing, 3 properties from the resolution.
Is that page 5, line 7 through 9?
Need a motion to approve?
Yes,
Page 5, 10 through 12,
right, that's right.
and page 5, 13 through 15.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll second.
Yes, that's
So these have all been settled and paid in full.
right.
According to the code enforcement director, he's been paid, right?
Okay, they've been paid, Madam Mayor, so, yeah, I'd like to, amend the motion to remove, I guess, make,
He's moving to amend this.
yeah, I'm just making a motion to amend the resolution to remove the properties in question according to the memo.
So that would be properties, item numbers 1, 2, and 3, as listed on the memo,
Right.
to be removed from this resolution.
I'll second.
It's been second, properly moved and second, that we amend the memo by removing the properties as listed on the memo, items 1, 2, and 3. Let's vote. All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Item amendment, let's vote on the resolution. All in favor of the resolution as amended, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved.
Agenda item number 13, a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign an agreement with Harness Roofing Incorporated to perform work waterproofing the fiberglass dome of the city hall.
Whereas there is need for waterproofing the fiberglass dome of the City Hall, and whereas the maintenance department advertised in a newspaper of general circulation in the city seeking proposals to do the needed work from interested vendors, and whereas the firm of Harness Roofing Incorporated provided the lowest, most responsible bid to do the work, and a contract should be executed with this vendor consistent with the bid specifications and its proposal. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, that the mayor is authorized to sign an agreement with Harness Roofing Incorporated to perform the necessary work of waterproofing the fiberglass dome of the City Hall on the terms, conditions, and for the consideration found in the job specifications and the vendor's bid submission and other terms standard in the field for work of this nature.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign an agreement with Harness Roofing Incorporated to perform work of waterproofing the fiberglass dome of City Hall be approved. The floor is open for discussion. Councilman Brown Senior.
Thank you, Mayor. Is this such, work that could have been bidded out?
It was bidded.
It was, okay, that's
It
good.
was bidded out, and this is the company that won the bid.
Okay, very good. All right.
Yes,
Just had a question. So on the bid sheets, I'm looking at this one and the next one. So here, one is $430,000 37,000, and the other 29 was on the other sheet.
Now, are you looking at 14 and 13, or what's?
13 and 14.
These are two different jobs.
Well, I know, so it says here, it says combined both, so that's why I didn't, did that mean that that was for both jobs? Just had to come.
Which page are you looking at?
Looking
That's on
at
page, it's the third page.
page 3 of
Are we looking at resolution number 13 or 14?
13, number 13, page 3 of number 13. I was just curious because the numbers, they're so far off. One was 29, one was 34 and 37, and so I was wondering if that was a combination of the two bids, and then on the other one, if you add the 29 plus the 312 for.
Oh, yes. You're looking at the 437 and the 29, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I think they added everything onto the 437 one.
Oh.
But their bid was still high.
How many was bidding?
We just got 2 on this one.
Let me just say this now. We talking about 29,000, then it's about 437,000.
So the 437 come, what he did was we're waterproofing the Collins, Public Safety Building, the Collins Center. And so he added the amount for the Collins Center plus the dome on that second one where you have the 437,000.
That's why it confused me to understand about the bid, because I saw that, but I may not be clear yet, because we're talking about 29,000 on one line, and we're talking about 437,000 on another line. And then
So if you go over
DOTA.
to your next bid,
Okay,
in item number 14, that's resolution number 14.
okay.
So we had 3 companies that bid on that, Harness, Carson, and Green Nets. And so that was for that overall building.
Okay, so you put on this,
So
you put that
Carson
one on the first
combined
sheet.
his.
You put the Carson Associate on the first sheet.
Right. So
And-
Carson combined his combined price was 437.
Right.
So Harness was 312 plus 29.
So what's
Which was
Green
still
Nets? How
less.
did Green Nets just get 40,000?
Well, we don't know how they did their bidding,
I sure
but they
don't
couldn't
know.
fix that for 40,000.
But I
So even though
understand,
it's the lowest bidder, we know he couldn't waterproof that building for that.
but
So-
I understand now coming from
So Harness
13 to
company
14.
submitted the lowest bid.
Yeah, come from 13 to 14, the resolutions. I can see the difference.
Yes, sir.
But you just didn't bring the 312 to the first, to 13. See?
Well, we can't adjust these bids, we have to accept them the way they come in. But we were able to still do the math and see that Harness had the best price. And Harness had the best reputation. They do waterproofing for the state capitol and many of the historical buildings in the Little Rock area. So we pretty much did our research because we've been looking for someone to waterproof these buildings for a long time.
So what's the total price? 29,000?
The 29 is just for waterproofing the dome, and then his price is going to be for the Collins building 312. And that's still less than the 437, which was your next bid. So now, which one of these will we on? 13.
Yeah, we're doing 13.
Any other questions on that resolution number 13?
So what's the total?
312.
The
It's on
total on
it's
the
on
one,
the
the
next.
total on the one that we're looking at now is going to be 29,000. And that's the first one is the dome. And that's just the dome on the top roof of City Hall. It's like a fiberglass sun, looks like a sunroof. But it's that dome that's leaking, and we need to get that fixed.
So that's the total price, 29,000.
Yes.
The other guy had 437.
But he combined the Collins building plus the dome.
He put both of them together. He didn't separate his bids.
But you can see the real price on the next, on the resolution.
If you look on the next page, you'll see. Okay, let's vote. Are there any other questions before we vote? Any other questions? Do you understand? Okay. All in favor of this resolution authorizing us to go in agreement with Harness Roofing to perform the work of the dome? Let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved.
Agenda item number 14, a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign an agreement with Harness Roofing Incorporated to perform work waterproofing the Detective Kevin Collins Training Center.
Whereas there is a need for waterproofing of the Detective Kevin Collins Training Center, and whereas the Maintenance Department advertised in a newspaper of general circulation in the city seeking proposals to do the needed work from individual vendors, and whereas the firm of Harness Roofing Incorporated provided the lowest, most responsible bid to do the work and a contract should be executed with this vendor consistent with the bid specifications and its proposal. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, that the mayor is authorized to sign an agreement with Harness Roofing Incorporated to perform the necessary work of waterproofing the Detective Kevin Collins Training Center on the terms and conditions and for consideration found in the job specifications and the vendor's bid submission and other terms and standards in the field or work of this nature.
Move or adopt.
Second. It's been moved and properly second that a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign an agreement with Harness Roofing to perform work waterproofing the Detective Kevin Collins Training Center be approved. And so if we were to look at the figure here, that since Carson didn't break his out, if we were to use Harness's figure, 29,000, that would make Carson's bid on the building 406,000 compared to Harness's 312,000. If that makes sense. He just did a combined of both of them. Any other questions? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor of this resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved.
Agenda item number 15. A resolution authorizing the mayor to make an application to the Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism for grant assistance.
Whereas the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas seeks to improve recreation in the community through the development of a fitness center and wishes to seek grant funding assistance for such development. And whereas in order to obtain the necessary funds to develop and or improve the site for such a recreation area, it is necessary to obtain an outdoor recreation matching grant from the Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism. And whereas the plans for the recreation area have been prepared and the price established. And whereas the council understands the city as grantee and the state as grantor will enter into a binding agreement that obligates both parties to policies and procedures contained within the outdoor recreation matching grant application guide, including but not limited to the following: the park area defined by the project boundary map submitted with the application must remain in outdoor recreation use in perpetuity, regardless if the property is bought or developed with matching funds, and all future overhead utility lines within the project boundary must be placed underground, and the project area must remain open and available for use by the public at all reasonable times of the day and year. And facilities can be reserved for special events, league play, etc., but cannot be reserved, leased, or assigned for exclusive use. And the project area must be kept clean, maintained, and operated in a safe and helpful manner. And whereas the City Council is well aware of and apprised of the aforementioned project and will provide an amount of $250,000 to fund the required grant match. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, that the mayor is hereby authorized to make an application to the Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism for assistance to develop an outdoor fitness center in the city, and that the city pledges it will provide matching funds of $250,000 for the project.
Move for adoption.
Second.
So properly moved and second that a resolution authorizing the mayor to make application to the Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism for grant assistance be approved. The floor is open for discussion. Now, this is a grant for the Delta Rhythm and Values Project. It is a $500,000 grant, $250,000 from them, and $250,000 match. So this resolution is approving the match for that grant. Any questions? Comments? Hearing none. All in favor of this resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved.
Agenda item number 17, a resolution authorizing the sale of used and surplus police department vehicle.
Whereas the police department has many used vehicles which are no longer suited for law enforcement purposes and are surplus, which should be disposed of in a commercially reasonable manner. And whereas the vehicles should be disposed of by a public auction to the highest bidder. Now therefore be resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Section 1, that the police department is authorized to dispose of the 39 used and surplus motor vehicles itemized in the attached list, which is incorporated herein by reference. Section 2, the vehicles will be sold by public auction conducted by Robinson Auction Companies. The auction will begin at 9:30 a.m. on September 13, 2023, and be conducted at 2 Convention Center Drive, Pine Bluff, Arkansas. The rules for bidding, payment, etc. will be the standard rules for auctions of this nature. Section 3, vehicles which do not sell may be sold to other local public safety entities for a nominal consideration or scrap and salvage.
Move for adoption.
Second. It's been properly moved and second that a resolution authorizing the sale of used and surplus police department vehicles be approved. The floor is open for discussion. Councilmember Brown Senior.
Thank you, Mayor. I know what you're gonna tell me, that the money goes back into the police budget. That's what you're gonna tell me, right?
More than likely, I think the conversation is that, if I make no mistake, this money will go toward payment on the lease vehicles. We have a bill coming in from lease vehicles, and so, it goes toward the payment of the lease vehicles.
Can the city can they make sure that city council just see him? Can they make sure the city council just see what the bids were, just to see how much amount? Because most of the time I don't know like a total.
The total of the amount?
In other words, it's gonna be an auction.
Yes.
You got 39 calls. I would like to know the total price of bids of those 39.
Of the total sale, I think the clerk will be out there managing. Yes, that shouldn't be a problem. Right, we can do that. Now, you don't want per each car?
No, that's just what
All
I'm
right, we
talking
can do that. Yes, not a problem. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor of this resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved.
Agenda item number 18, a resolution appointing Leon Crumley to the planning commission.
Whereas the term of Leon Crumlin as a member of the planning commission has expired, but the mayor has reappointed him to the position subject to council approval. Now therefore be resolved by the city council of the city of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, that the mayor's appointment of Leon Crumlin to the planning commission to serve a term to expire June 1, 2026 is hereby approved and confirmed.
Move for adoption.
Second.
A resolution appointing Leon Cromley to the planning commission is recommended to be approved. The floor is open for questions. Comments? Hearing none. All in favor of this resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved. Now, according to my read number, was it 17?
Well, you changed the numbers after these, when we skipped kind of made 17, 16. I think you still went up the original numbers, so.
Okay.
So I have both numbers on my hand, so.
All right. Councilman.
17. I'm still reading now.
Yeah.
It's 17.
Well, that one was 17.
That one's 17. The next one is 18.
The new 17.
Okay. So agenda item number 18, a resolution appointing Floretta Perry Scott to the planning commission.
Whereas the term of Floretta Perry Scott as a member of the planning commission has expired, but the mayor has reappointed her to the position subject to council approval. Now therefore be resolved by the city council of the city of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, that the mayor's appointment of Floretta Perry Scott to the planning commission to serve a term to expire June 1st, 2026 is hereby approved and confirmed.
Move for adoption.
Second.
A resolution appointing Floretta Perry Scott to the planning commission has been approved. Has been recommended for passing. I guess I'm getting tired tonight. It has been properly moved and seconded that a resolution appointing Floretta Perry Scott to the planning commission be approved. The floor is open for questions, comments. Councilmember Brown Senior.
Thank you, Mayor. In lieu of what one of our speakers said tonight, I think this particular resolution should be reviewed. So it should be more or less pulled for a minute or something of that nature. It should be reviewed. The public heard what was said, and if it's such as true, that may be a big time controversy. I think we
Well,
should.
I don't think that would be a big controversy. I disagree with that. I think that we need to move forward. We are putting some things in place so that we can maintain some of our commissioners who have that seasoning experience, and I think Ms. Scott is one of those.
But I think at this time, we should pull this and review it a little bit, and maybe some things could happen with the other board that she's on. Because he just showed us a conflict, and I understand he has been trying to do some things in Pine Bluff with his own money. And if we are allowing the planning commission to make that change and be on another commission that handles what he wants to do or whatever, subjective to what he wants to do, I think that's unfair. So I think we should view this before we confirm this tonight. That's my view, that's what I think. And I didn't really know this until he brought that to us tonight. And I think that we're the proper city council, then we would at least, study it and wonder what should happen. Because he has been trying to open up a business, and if this particular person is on the board of the group that wants to do likewise with taxpayer money or somebody else's money, that's a total different conflict that the city needs to be dealing with. So that's how I feel about that, and I don't understand why would anybody else feel any different right now.
Councilman Brown, Jr.
Mr. Finley, I know he spoke about opening the go-kart track, and I believe he's brought a number of businesses to the planning commission, and I think they have given him clear direction on how to get that building open. And it's not about them denying his go-kart track, but it's about the condition of the facility that he's trying to put the go-kart track in. It has nothing to do with the fact that he wants to, and if somebody else wanted to open a go-kart track or whatever they wanted to open, there's no problem there, but there are rules and regulations that must be met, city code-wise, through zoning, that, especially the zoning, that must be met before he's allowed to do that. There's no conflict. If somebody wanted to open up 5 go-kart tracks, I'm welcome it. So
Allow me, Mayor, to confer to at least cross the table with Alderman Junior here. This man plans to do this with his own money. And if another group, a group that she sits on a board with, is doing the same thing he wants to do, and you deny him, but you allow the other groups to do it, that's city discrimination. And that's all to it. I mean, no, that's just bottom line. Let's look at it right. Everything that he's tried to do, they have chopped him down with it. And I think it's only fair that we do look at this. It's just fair that we should not approve this tonight. And, I mean, that's just bottom line. We should at least consider what he has said, to look into those issues and see where they are and what's going on. We owe that to the citizens as well as Mr. Finley to at least review this matter. And that's just fair. And that's just fair. And that's how I live. I want everybody to know that. I live with what is fair. I don't live with what somebody tell me to do, with what somebody pay me to do, or twist my arms to do. I live with what I see is fair before I sit here and I say, that's just bottom line. I'm not finished. That's how I feel. So if Mr. Finley has spoken, had he not said it tonight, I wouldn't have had a problem. But he told us something. He gave us knowledge. It's important that we should at least review what he has said to us, and I think it's only fair. I'm not rejected. I think we just ought to review this. That's just the bottom line.
Councilman Frazier.
I have had the privilege of sitting in on the commission meeting. And my understanding is that he was approved for a few projects through the commission, but he didn't want to follow guidelines. I don't care what city you go into, you want to have to follow guidelines. Floretta cannot keep, with just her single vote, she cannot deny him. It has to be a whole commission that votes on it. Right. Right. It has to be the majority. So, but if you don't, I don't care who it is, even me. If I'm going to put something in this city, you have to follow the guidelines. And he flat out told them,
I love you, Mayor.
Anyway, but I'm not gonna go into all of what he said in that committee meeting, because it was crazy, that commission meeting, it was crazy. I let you speak without interrupting you.
I'm sorry, I'm not talking to the mayor, say, allow me, I want to talk to your question.
I'm still speaking though.
Okay.
So, my thing is, when someone don't get their way, are we always gonna deny someone from being on a commission because someone didn't get their way through that commission? I don't think that is correct, and that is right, and that is the right due process. So, now, Alderman Brown, seeing you.
I'm allowed to by the mayor. Do you know the count? In that meeting, you said that because one vote can change. If you knew the count, then you can say that. And then the other thing is, she is on two different things that's affecting the city. That the go forward board.
Even if she would have voted yes, it still would have been denied because it was too many saying no.
I can serve,
What I said,
you can actually serve on more than one board. And we do it all the time, so I don't see where there is a problem. So I think what we need to do tonight, if you don't approve of this, vote against it. But right now, let's vote.
well,
All in favor of this resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yes, I oppose it.
Roll call.
Because it didn't do right. We're not doing this right, and I oppose it.
Councilmember Mays. Councilmember Coleman Jr.
Aye.
Councilmember Brown Jr.
Aye.
Councilmember Lockett. Councilmember Brown Senior.
No.
Councilmember Shayner.
Aye.
Councilmember Frazier.
Aye.
Councilmember Preston.
Passes.
Mayor, you strong on that. I don't take the strong on.
No, we're not
Don't
strong
take to
on
that.
it, it's just time to move on.
I don't take to that. I want you to know that I believe in what is fair politically and municipal wise.
We all believe in what's fair, but you know what? We give you more than your share of time. You know, strong.
Anybody can have the time they want. You were elected by the
But it's
people.
time to move on to.
Very good.
Thank you so much.
Agenda item number 19, a resolution appointing Belinda Eugene to the Advertising and Promotion Commission.
If there is no objection from the council, I'll read both 19 and 20.
That's right.
Whereas the terms of Reverend Stephen King and Belinda Eugene as members of the Advertising and Promotion Commission have expired, and whereas, as provided by ACA 2675-605, the commission is vested with the authority to fill the vacancy subject to council confirmation. And whereas the commission has elected to reappoint both Reverend Stephen King and Ms. Eugene to the commission, now therefore be resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, that the appointment of Belinda Eugene and Stephen King to the Advertising and Promotion Commission to expire, to serve a term to expire May 31st, 2027 and April 30, 2027 respectively are hereby approved and confirmed.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that resolutions appointing Belinda Eugene and Reverend Stephen King to the Advertising and Promotion Commission be approved. The floor is open for discussion. Any questions? Hearing none. All in favor of these appointments, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Both appointments are approved.
Agenda item number 21, a resolution authorizing an agreement with the University of Arkansas, Little Rock for the performance of a group violence initiative evaluation program.
Whereas there is great need for a professional evaluation of group violence intervention programs to be implemented in the city to combat crime. And whereas after public advertising soliciting any interested parties to submit a proposal to perform the evaluation, the sole submission was by the University of Arkansas Little Rock of Criminal Justice and Criminology. And whereas the proposal is consistent with the city's solicitation, the entity is qualified and capable of performing the work, and the cost is fair and reasonable. And whereas an agreement should be executed with UALR to perform the evaluation. Now therefore be resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Section 1, The mayor is authorized to sign the attached memorandum of agreement consisting of 3 pages with an Exhibit A consisting of 4 pages on the terms and for the consideration therein specified. Section 2, the consideration of $40,000 will be sourced from the 2017 5% city sales tax, the youth project ledger line item in the 2023 municipal budget.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that a resolution authorizing an agreement with University of Arkansas Little Rock for the performance of a group violence initiative evaluation program be approved. The floor is open for discussion. Any questions? Hearing none. All in favor of this resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved.
Final agenda item number 22, a resolution authorizing the placement of a commemorative topper on Oak Street at its intersection with 2nd Avenue to honor Dr. Joseph C. Corbin for contributions to the city of Pine Bluff.
Whereas a naming application was submitted pursuant to sections 291-293 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, by Ms. Monique J. Bedford, requesting the placement of a street topper on Oak Street at its intersection with 2nd Avenue to honor Dr. Joseph C. Corbin Sr., an individual with significant contributions and impact on the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas. And whereas the application has been reviewed and approved by all relevant officials, is recommended for approval by the Traffic and Aviation Committee, meets the criteria set forth in sections 291 through 293, and the council is of the opinion that the honorary topper should be installed as quickly as possible. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, that the street department shall install 1 or more honorary street toppers on Oak Street at its intersection with 2nd Avenue to honor Dr. Joseph C. Corbin for his contributions to the community. The department will install the toppers as quickly as possible. The historical impact of Dr. Corbin's contributions and his association with the city are set forth on page 2 of the naming application attached to you 2 and are incorporated herein by reference and recommended for reading.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that a resolution authorizing the placement of a commemorative topper on Oak Street at its intersection with 2nd Avenue to honor Dr. Joseph C. Corbin for contributions to the City of Pine Bluff be approved. The floor is open for discussion.
Is he, Corbin Holmes?
J.C. Corbin, is the first president, yes. Yes. Corbin Hall is named. Any other questions or comments? If not, all in favor of this resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
So move the property second that we are adjourned. We have one speaker speaking on a non-agenda item, and that speaker is James Hill. James Hill. Good issues.
Good evening. City Board, members, council, and mayor. I am representing the north side, one of the gatekeepers on the north side. I have many issues regarding our community for keeping our community. First of all, I want to give God honor because we are the least side recognized, but we also are the safest side of Pine Bluff. We police and govern our own side. We make sure that we watch everybody's property, we communicate, we show love, we work as a village. We had 4 murders I can count in the last 8 years since I've been a gatekeeper, and only one of them been our own. But I thank God that He has allowed us to continue on to work together. But the issues I have today about our side, we don't have nobody keeping our dishes up, keeping our drain system up, our alleys, our dishes have been cut in certain places all summer. But we are homeowners over there, and we pay the city, the street department, we pay them in our taxes.
And I haven't seen one work 8 hours yet in our community with a weed eater. Nor one of them big machines. When I come to ask that we get help in our area for keeping our side up. Our elders got over. They paid twice, meaning they paid the taxes and they paid their people, their lawn caravan to cut their dishes. They got old now. Them dishes need to be cut, them drains need to be fixed, and them dishes need to be covered up. We are a community over there on the north side with the college, and we don't have sidewalks on certain streets where the kids can walk, because they're not used to that type of activity right there. I have to worry about something jumping at their ditch, or someone laying in there, you know, trying to rob them or rape them or do anything like that. They have to walk on the street to feel protected. We need them issues taken care of. It's sad to say that by us being the least size, and we majority of people that only own property, and these issues haven't been taken care of. I've been to many meetings that said it's gonna be done, it hasn't been done. But I'm coming as a gatekeeper of the north side. One that's here to make sure, you know, that things get taken care of. I'm just asking for help in them areas right there, because that's what we need. We ain't got no value, but we got that. I promise you that we got that. I got 8 years of record on that. We got that right there.
That's right, that's right.
And I want you to know that. But I just want the dishes and the people that need their houses fixed, a program that can help them fix their houses and got old now, ain't working no more. Things of that nature right there so their home won't be destroyed or lost or abandoned. But we need them help. Because right now, we all we got over there. And we do it to the best of our knowledge. And we were taught from our forefathers, from our grandmas, the aunties, the uncles. And we live together in unity. Every time we have a reunion, north side reunion, we don't have no violence, no killing, no robbery, none of that. And we also have good officers here. We have officers that come in that's on the force, that's from the north side. And they protect well. But all I'm asking, help get our streets together, our community, our houses, and our ditches. So our kids, my kids, won't cross that ditch.
Mr. Hill, we want to thank you for coming and putting emphasis on the north side, because you're right, there are a lot of elderly citizens in that area, a lot of homeowners. And we are putting a special focus on every ward, but especially Ward 4, because for a long time it has appeared as though it was a neglected ward. We have a new code enforcement director, Mr. Lockett. He has a church over there in the 4th Ward.
Yes.
So Councilmember Mays, I think, can agree with me here that he has special emphasis on that ward as well as every other ward in the city. We had a meeting just yesterday discussing Ward 4. We have a young, new, energetic code enforcement officer who is overseeing Ward 4. He's taking a lot of pride in his work. I would like for you to call the code enforcement officer and get the office and get his name so that he can work with you along with Mr. Lockett.
Yes.
We also have some other groups that we're hiring to do some of the ditches and curbs that our street department just hasn't had enough manpower to get to in time. But we are noticing some areas in the 4th Ward, if you'll keep looking, that are beginning to look better, and hopefully we can keep that progress moving throughout the ward.
Yeah, I want to thank my ward, because we got the best wards in the city.
We do have the quietest ward.
We got the best ward.
When it comes to
They
crime,
take care
the
of
ward
their
is
business.
quiet.
And we work together.
Yes.
And I thank y'all for
Thank
giving
you.
us.
I just want to thank you. I just want to thank you too for coming up and speaking. You know, I give my all the time. I want to thank you for having good hands in the area. He does a lot. He does a lot for young people as well as the older people in the 4th Ward. Just keep it up. I got your back.
I'm interested in what you think
stated my building inspector with you. I am not going to be upset. They gave me that.